All right, so 10 things I really wish I knew when I started my AI agency. There was some stuff, there were some tips and tricks that were available on the internet in a way, but not very precisely, as I'm going to discuss today, about what exactly do you have to follow, or what are some things you need to know before you start your own agency, because this online business space is, of course, not very easy or as easy as you may think it is. And there are some complications, there are some things that you should know before getting into this, this space, just so that you don't have some false expectations and so that you can skip all those time consuming barriers or hurdles that are going to come through your way when you get into this business space, and just so that you don't make the same mistakes that I made or anybody else has made as an AI agency owner that has let their success or let their results get delayed as compared to normal, right? So without any further conversation, I'll just get into these 10 points, right? Starting from the first one, money is a long-term result, right? Don't expect much within the first 4 to 5 months of you starting your own agency, because that's going to be the initial time when you're going to learn all this stuff, when you're going to learn about the online business space, when you're going to learn how the marketing works, how the sales stuff works, how do you send proposals, how do these deals work, and all that stuff. So those 4 5 months are really for your foundation and for the time when you're gonna just learn your skills. So every AI agency video makes it look like you post one video and clients just slide into your DMs with 5K retainers, right? All these business coaches out there, or all these agency coaches out there, very frequently or very often tell you in their videos that some of their students just made 3K or 5K dollars in just 1 to 2 months of their starting. But either they are just completely lying about it, or they are some exceptional people which already have been in the business online business space for some time now, and it's just that now they have shifted to this AI agency model, and now it's only been 1 to 2 months in this AI agency space specifically, right? In any other case, there's no way that a normal person would know anything about how the online business space works. How do you run an agency? How do you sign these deals? How do you bring in clients and all that stuff? Right? So an agency is a business, and businesses do take time to build trust, get referrals, and find their offer. If every agency would have gave you like would start giving you these results in like 2 3 months, literally every person you see out there would be doing this stuff. And the online agency, or a service based agency, is the only business model, or one of the only business models, that do not require a good or a decent amount of money investment from your side. Only the time investment, and only it only requires you to learn the skill, right? So it isn't gonna be perfect in any sense that you won't require the time, you won't require the money or anything like that. You will have to give a lot of time to it, and you will be needed to have patience through the way, right? Now go in expecting a 4 to 5 months runway of building, not earning. Okay, that mindset alone keeps you in the game long enough to actually win, because patience is the actual key in the online business space, right? Now the second one, which is learning AI, is only 30% of the job. As an AI agency owner, when you're pitching AI services to other businesses, the actual technical part, or the part where you actually learn AI tools, AI systems, AI infrastructures, how does AI work, how does AI help businesses, that's only the 30% of the work. The other 70% is the sales, is the marketing, is the proposals, and everything like that, which is basically typical in every other business model as well. So you have to understand the business more importantly than you understand the service, right? Because at one point you can even outsource your service through somebody else. Let's say a freelancer out there who knows more about this technical AI stuff than you do, right? But you have to know about how the sales works, how the marketing works, how do you bag in clients, how do you do the lead gen and stuff, and all that stuff, right? Most people who fail don't fail because their AI skills weren't good enough. They just fail because nobody knew they existed, and because they just simply didn't do any sort of marketing, or they just didn't build any sort of online presence. If 90% of your time is technical, and if your learning time is technical, and 10% is business, you got it backwards. You actually have to spend like 80 to 90% of your time learning the business, and the 10 20% understanding the actual concept, because that's not too complex. When I was getting started in this space, I thought if I just learn AI, it was going to take me most to most like 1.5 months to do so. I thought I would actually be the master of this AI agency model, and that now that I understood everything about AI, it'll be very easy for me to sell any services regarding AI, which was basically not the case, because I didn't know anything about sales, marketing, or anything like that, right? All right, so the third point, which is sell what the market already wants. You don't have to sell anything very new, anything very shiny, or anything which is like this rainbow stuff that you think will be very, very lucrative in the market, but the market already doesn't know about it at all. Which is the same case that happened with me when I started with voice agents, and back in like starting of 2025. That time, AI voice agents were not really hyped, and very niche sort of businesses knew about it. And I had to, like, when I was approaching businesses, that I could just build these voice agents for them so that they don't have to take all these calls on their own. I just had to spend like 10 to 15 minutes just telling them or making them understand what this voice agent thing actually means. Does this even sound realistic? How does it have a conversation? Because they didn't trust it, because they didn't know anything about it, right? So that was like completely alienated idea to them. So chatbots, the market doesn't reward you from being first. It actually rewards you for solving a problem people are only already facing. So the market doesn't reward you for being first. It actually rewards you for solving a problem that people already are aware that they have, right? I'm not saying that voice agents do not solve any sort of problem. They do, but they don't solve any sort of urgency, right? As a guy getting into the online business space, or basically into the AI agency model, you have to solve something which is urgent, which businesses urgently need to get solved in order to, continue their stuff. That thing, voice agents don't do, but they still sell in some particular cases, right? Now, chatbots for support, AI for lead qualification, content automation, stuff like this, right? Because chatbots are already in the market, and most of the businesses just get chatbots with the idea that they have to compete with other businesses in their same niche in the industry, and they have chatbots. Their competitors have chatbot, they don't, right? Similarly about this lead qualification, content automation, and all that. Now, you don't have to convince them that the problem exists, just that you can solve it. Now, the fourth point, which is execute more than you consume. Okay, the very big mistake that I made through my AI agency learning graph, or my learning journey, was that I spent like 60% or 70% of my time just learning stuff. I was just rolling through YouTube videos, learning some stuff. I just thought, if I just watch this video, either it's gonna polish my sales skills, or it's gonna tell me something crazy about how the market works, or it's gonna tell me something crazy about how to do marketing, or how to build an online presence. And in just these thoughts, I just spent like 5 to 6 months of mine, really wasted 60 to 70% of my time on just learning stuff, which I didn't even remember till the other day, because now this other day, or let's say tomorrow, I've got this whole list of new videos to watch. So I've got this limited space in my mind that these videos, or these resources, this knowledge has got, right? So I can only store some limited information in my brain. And I'll tell you this, that if you execute like 90% of your time, or 80% of your time, you're gonna do well enough. You're gonna do the best in this field as compared to anybody else who's spending like 60 to 70% of their time just learning stuff, like me, right? So watching a video about outreach doesn't send a single message. You'll have to do it for yourself. It doesn't matter how many videos you watch about doing this email outreaching, or the perfect cold email, cold DM script. That doesn't work at all. Of course, you can watch those videos to get a good idea of what scripts have already stopped working in the market, but you have to watch them all, right? You just have to watch a single video, you'll get an idea, then you have to perform these tasks yourself. You'll have to send these cold DMs, cold emails yourself, so that you can yourself evaluate what works and what doesn't, so that you can actually test stuff on your own, and so that you actually become the master in that space. Okay, now the fifth point, which is prefer inbound over outbound. As in the lead gen part, always prefer the inbound lead gen as compared to the outbound lead gen. I'll tell you this, if we take a comparison graph between the inbound lead generation and the outbound lead gen, then there's a very fundamental difference between them, that the outbound lead generation actually can give you clients faster than the inbound does. But when the inbound does, because it's just that the inbound lead gen actually takes a decent amount of time to build up. So if you're building your page on LinkedIn or on Instagram, if you're posting some content on these applications or on YouTube, it's going to take some time for you to build audience, to build some trust. But once you do, it's only upwards from there. And in outbound lead generation, you'll have to work exactly the same, or even more difficult, every single time you do it, because like you don't build such amount of trust that inbound lead gen actually does. If you build an online presence like on Instagram or YouTube, that's going to give you these amazing, these lucrative exponential awards as compared to the outbound lead gen, right? So build a presence first, content, case studies, a clear point of view, and let people come to you already have convinced. Because actually, the sales part is also really, really easy when it comes to inbound lead gen, because when the person comes to you, when the lead comes to you through your inbound lead gen model, then they already are convinced that they do need this solution in some sort of way, and they come to you just to, like, in a way, close the deal, or just get to know more about how do you perform better than your competitors. As compared to in the outbound lead gen model, you'll actually have to convince the other person, or convince the other business owner why do they need your services, and then the other whole thing starts, like how are you better than your competitors and all that stuff, right? So prefer inbound lead gen over outbound lead gen if there's no urgency, because that's definitely going to give you more rewards, more ROI than outbound lead gen, right? All right, now output content constantly. Like whatever you do, whatever sort of automation you make, whatever sort of AI solution that you do make, just make a piece of content out of it, and just keep posting it. Keep posting on your online social media, as constantly, as regularly, as frequently as possible, because that's going to help you so much in building your online presence that I cannot just put it into words. Every post, every video, every breakdown you share is doing two things. Either it's a proof of your expertise, or it's an inventory that keeps working for you long after you hit publish, right? That's going to give you passive awards, which actually means that once you post a video, now it's going to remain on the internet forever. So somebody can watch it even like 5 to 6 years later and still come to you as a lead, right? You get what I'm saying? That just doesn't happen similarly in the outbound lead gen space, right? So output content constantly is going to give you exponential rewards, and that's basically why I'm doing it as well, right? Now, niche down before you scale, which is our seventh point, right? Niche down before you scale. Don't try to be the AI agency for every business under the sun. Basically, what I mean is just pick your niche, pick your industry in which you have some idea, or if you don't have any idea of any other industry out there, just go to ChatGPT, pick any of the industry. Every industry is good, right? Every industry is sort of capable of being helped by AI in any sort of way, right? Just pick a niche, go to ChatGPT, have a conversation with it for like 1 hour or two, just understand everything about the business, how the business works, how the processes look like, and how the employees work, and everything about that, right? Because only when you understand the business will you be able to provide service for them. Okay, so niche done before you scale, that actually makes you the master of this single niche. And basically we'll just correlate the quote that jack of all trades is a master of none. So it's better to be a master of one niche, and then when you do become a master, when you do build a very good reputation in that particular industry, then you can actually generalize your industry model, or generalize the amount of industries you serve, right? So that's basically what these other big YouTubers do out there. That once they already have got this amazing online presence, now they've got this whole piece of expertise that will be helpful for every industry out there, right? Now the eighth point, which is build systems before you build a team. So what I mean by that is, now let's say I'm in the AI automation space and I have 3 4 people working for me. How does it make sense that I know AI automation and I'm not using AI automation for myself? Rather, I've just employed like 3 to 4 people to work for me. That just doesn't make sense, right? So you have to build systems for yourself even before you build a team. So a checklist, a template, a repeatable process, something you don't have to reinvent every single time, right? Early on, you'll want to do everything from your memory because it feels faster. But once you get into this field, once it's some decent time that you've spent in this field, this piece of this piece of task list is going to get really really exhausting for you, just because now these are some extra waste tasks that don't really generate ROI for you, right? Systems are what let an agency become a business, instead of you just doing a job for multiple people at once, right? Just handling multiple systems or multiple places, multiple departments at once. Yours all by yourself. You're just gonna get exhausted at the end, right? Now, number nine, which is price on value, not hours, right? You're not doing a job here. You're not doing a corporate job. You actually don't have to, price your value or price your hours. Like you do stuff for $20 an hour or $30 an hour. That's just not professional at all, and this just doesn't make sense, right? Basically, what value you're going to provide to the other business, you're just going to take a share of it. Or what I mean by that is, let's say the other company is spending like 30,000 a year on their lead gen or their email automation, and you just do it for all their email marketing, and you just completely automate this process for them, such that it only takes them 3,000 a year to do it, right? So what's going to happen is, now you're saving them $20,000 a year, and you can just take a percentage of it, which is like, either you can say like $2 to $3 a month retainer, or you can just close the deal at $6 to $7,000, right? That's basically how it works. So the value you actually provide the other business, just take a piece of it, because that's going to do two things. First of all, it's going to make sure that you are not underpaid, and then it's also going to make sure that you're providing good service to the other business, because you're only getting a percentage of what you provide to the other business, right? So if you're providing the other business some shit, then you're not getting shit, right? So that's basically how it works. Now, the last point, which is retention actually beats acquisition. What I mean by that is, the lead gen, there are 100 forms of lead gen out there, right? One of them, which is the very goated one, is referrals. Referrals, as in, let's say this company that you've worked with before, this company can actually refer you to a lot of their acquaintances. And what's going to happen is that the people who are already referred, they're going to have a layer of trust already in your services, because somebody who they know have tried your services and they've got good results from it, right? So everyone obsesses over getting new clients. Almost nobody talks about keeping the new ones they already have. Actually, some people out there on the internet, which are some really, knowledgeable people, they now do talk about this retention model and why do you need to actually pay attention to the retaining your customers as compared to acquiring new customers every single time, right? So if you're constantly losing clients as fast as you're gaining them, you're not actually growing. You're running any pace, a place while burning energy on outreach you didn't need to do. Let's say you've got this project. Let's take this imaginary example that you've got this project. Give your 100% on that project, and I'm guaranteeing you, if you do this, then the other business is going to get some exponential rewards from it, or some exponential results from it. As a matter of fact, they also are going to refer you to some of their, let's say, colleagues, or some of their teammates, or some of their other known business owners, right? And that model is actually really, really reliable as compared to acquiring new clients every single time. So make them the ones who refer you without you even asking. It all depends on what kind of service you provide. If you do some good service, then you definitely are getting referred. If you don't, then you'll have to ask for them yourself, and maybe just, drop some follow-ups that, hey, do you have some referral for me, or something like that, right? All right, so that was the whole video. They were the 10 points which I really wanted to discuss with you guys. If you're starting an AI agency of your own, or if you already have one, then like this is some stuff that you definitely need to know, just so that you can pace up your results, or pace up your journey, so that you can avoid some mistakes through the way, and avoid some hurdles through the way, and you actually don't make the same mistakes that I made as a beginner, right? So that's all. I'll see you in the next one. Okay, if you really like the video, I would really appreciate if you just drop a gesture of appreciation, either like or comment. And yeah, that's it. I'll just see you in the next one. Okay, bye bye.